Welcome back to another episode of The Cure for Cowardice. Now, I've made videos similar to this before, but I felt it was worth making another one because this is what I'm thinking about. Creativity and energy go hand in hand. That's something where it's like, the more energy you have, the more creative you are. The more creative you are, the more energy you will have. And it's very much a muscle, not a finite resource. And what I mean by that is you can expend all of your creativity or energy for the day, but the more that you do that consistently over and over, the greater amount of energy and creativity that you will have day after day. It's like if you think of a muscle, what you're doing when you're working it out is you are stretching and creating micro tears, and then it heals, and then there's more of it. It grows. And in the same way, we can stretch our energy / creativity to become more energetic and more creative the next day. And so this is something that I think people have kind of a common misunderstanding about, and I did for the longest time, is when you push yourself to your limit in one day, if you get proper sleep and sustenance that day, then the next day, you're not just recharged and ready to do that again, but you're recharged, ready to do that again, and you now have stretched the boundaries of your energy. You now have a greater resource to pull from when it comes to your energy and creativity. And the reason that I keep saying energy and creativity is because one directly affects the other. It's like they are two different things. Like I would say it's like mental energy versus physical energy. But the more that you stretch one of them, the other one will grow as well. And what happens is, if you can stretch both of them at the same time, it just expands that resource the next day that much faster. And so I was of the thinking for the longest time of like, oh, well, I am doing something very physical today, so let me not think very hard, because that way I'll have more energy physically because I'm not spending it mentally. But it's not like that at all. What you would ideally want to do is spend both of them to your comfort zone, to your limit, each and every day, and then get proper sleep, proper sustenance. Because what will happen when you do that is the next day, you will have the same amount plus more. And then you stretch that, and then you have a little bit more and a little bit more. And growing 1% every day like this is how we make things happen in our lives. Because if you were to do that every single day, after a month, you would barely recognize yourself. And the reason that I wanted to make a point about the mental side, the creative side about this, is because I wasn't doing this for the longest time. I was falling into the trap of, let me just spend my physical energy and save my mental energy, so at least I'm not totally wiped out. The problem, though, is had I been doing both that whole time, they both would have compounded on each other, and I would have been better off than if I had just done one or the other. And not just that, but the reason this comes to mind is because my buddy was going to start a D&D campaign where it was going to be me and a few of our friends who played, and he was going to be the DM. And long story short, a lot of things happened, and that never really came to fruition. And so the other day I asked him, like, hey, what's your timeline on this? Like, when do you think this will happen? And he's like, I honestly have no idea. And I was like, okay, cool. I want to do a campaign so he was going to do like a fantasy one. And I was like, I want to do a sci-fi one, and I'll DM, and it's going to be a new universe that's totally fresh for this story. And there's actually, I want to write a fiction book about it, about this universe and the things within it. And so this will be a nice way for me to expand and build this universe. And yeah, so basically, now that I am actually coming up with things and getting ready to DM this story, the more mental juices I'm using each and every day, the more fresh and awake and recharged I feel the next day after proper sleep, and the further I can push those boundaries. So, it's not one or the other, they're one and the same. If you want to move faster in life, if you want to move forward, you need to spend your physical energy and your mental energy to its limit every day, and you will recharge overnight, and the next day you will have that much more to play with. Do that every single day. Do that for a month. Do that for 3 months. I promise you, you will be completely unrecognizable to yourself. And the thing is, when you get more and more energy, when you get more and more resources to play with, you can take bigger and bigger chances with it. You can try new things. You have more courage. And just overall, you can start changing your life one day at a time. So, anyway, that's what I got for this one. Thank you for tuning in. I'll catch you on the flip side.